Okay, in this video we're going to be covering pre-algebra rounding numbers. The instructions ask us to round each to the place indicated. So what we're going to do in this when we round is the number that we're interested in, we're going to look to the right, and if that number is 5 or greater than the number we're interested in, we round up. If the number to the right of the number we're interested in is below 5, meaning 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, then we leave the number where it's at. So let's start with number 1. The 8 is the one that's underscored, so that's the one we're interested in. We look to the number to the right, which is 6, and because that 6 is greater than 5, we're going to round the 8 up to 9. So this now becomes 9 million. Number 2. The 9 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right, we have 5. Because 5 is 5 or greater, we round the 9 up. But we can't write 25,100,938. We can't write it that way. So we have to make that 9 a 10. So what we're going to do is change the 9 to a 0 and make the 5 a 6. So this now becomes 26 million. Okay, number 3. The 1 is the number that we're interested in. So we look to the right at the other one, and because that 1 value is lower than 5, we leave that 1 where it's at. So now we write 803,100. Number 4. The 7 is the one we're interested in. The number to the right is 3. So the 3 is lower than 5, so we leave the 7 where it's at, and this now becomes 70,000. Okay, number 5. The 2 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right at the 4. Because that 4 is lower than 5, we just leave the 2 where it's at. So this becomes 2 billion. Number 6. The 7 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right at the 8. Because the 8 is greater than 5, we round that 7 up to 800 million. Number 7. So now it's asking us to round to a specific place, and this one is telling us to round to the billions place. So the billions place is where that 9 is at, this 9. So we look to the right at the 8. Because the 8 is greater than 5, we round that 9 up, and this now becomes 10 billion. Number 8. It's asking us to look at the thousands place. So the thousands place is at that 8. We look to the right at the 2. Because the 2 is lower than 5, we leave the 8 where it's at, and this becomes 2,628,000. Great. Number 9. 10,000s place. The 10,000s place is where that 4 is at. So we look to the right, the 7 is greater than 5, so we round the 4 up to 5, so this becomes 350,000. Number 10. The billions place. So the billions place is where that 9 is at. We look to the right, we have a 7. Because the 7 is greater than 5, we round the 9 up to 10, so this becomes 10 billion. Okay, number 11. The thousands place. This 9 is where the thousands place is. We look to the right at the 1. Because the 1 is lower than 5, we leave the 9 where it's at. So this becomes 1,399,000. Number 12. The millions place. This 1 is where the millions place is at. We look to the right, it's a 1. Because the 1 is lower than 5, we leave it where it's at. So this becomes 271 million. Number 13. The 4 is what we're interested in, so we look to the right and we have a 9. Because the 9 is greater than 5, we round the 4 up to 5. So this becomes 44.54435. Number 14. The 9 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right. Because it's 5 or greater, we round the 9 up. But because we can't make that 9 a 10, we have to make the 9 a 0 and then the 3 a 4. It's back on that borrowing. So it becomes 5.3374. Number 15. The 9 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right. It's an 8. Because it's greater than 5, we round the 9 up. So this becomes 8.7496. Number 16. 74.9. Number 17. The 9 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right. Because it's a 1, we leave the 9 where it's at. So this becomes 0.7209. Number 18. The 6 is the one we're interested in, so we look to the right, which is an 8. Because the 8 is greater than 5, we round that 6 up. So this becomes 23.037. Okay, number 19. The thousandths place. This 3 is in the tenths, this one is in the hundredths, and this one is in the thousandths. So we look to the right at the 3. Because the 3 is less than 5, we leave the 1 in the thousandths place where it's at. So this becomes 9.311. Number 20, the tenths place. This 9 is in the tenths place. So we look to the right at the 7. Because the 7 is greater than 5, we round this 9 up. Because we can't make the 9 a 10, we make the 9 a 0, and that 6 becomes a 7. So number 20 is 7. Number 21. Tenths place, we look to the right at the 7. Because it's greater than 5, we round this 3 up to 4, so this becomes 6.4. Number 22, the hundred thousandths place. So we look at the 7s and tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. So the 9 is in the 100,000ths place, so we look to the right at the 4. Because the 4 is less than 5, we leave the 9 where it's at. So this becomes 1.73549. Number 23, thousandths place. The 4 is in the tenths, the 9 is in the hundredths, the 5 is in the thousandths. So we look to the right at the 4. The 4 is less than 5, so we leave the thousandths place where it's at. So this becomes 1.495. Number 24, the hundredths place. This is in the tenths, the 2 is in the hundredths. So we look to the right, the 1 is less than 5, so we leave the 2 where it's at, and this becomes 8.12. And that's rounding numbers.